BNI, today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. We talk each week, folks, that the digital world is loud and crowded. And if you just look at your own social media programs and platforms you're on, you see how many people are trying to get in touch with you, how many people are telling you they're great and awesome, you need to hire them. But you need pros like Oak City Tech to help you guide your way through that to figure out what's right, what's not. First thing we talk about is website design. Please go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 32 chapters and almost 550 members get together to do nothing but help each other grow our businesses. And our small business success story today is Tara Law with North State Bank. Tara, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Glad to have you here. Tara is a member of RD23 Raleigh Resource Group. They meet Wednesdays at 11:35 a.m. Right now, it's on Zoom. But when everybody gets back to meeting in person, it will be at Linwood Grill. Y'all are still there, right?
Yes, as far as I know,
All right.
yes.
Linwood Grill, wonderful restaurant, good food. I've heard they have a
Mhm.
couple of good beers on tap, so I've heard. I haven't tried any, not a beer drinker, but I've seen a couple of people at the meetings have a beer. But anyways, if you want to meet a good group of folks there,
Yeah.
Wednesday at 11:35, and you are the vice president right now.
Yes.
And the meeting I attended, I think we're almost going on a month ago. You
Yep.
so love the limelight, don't you, Tara?
Yeah. I love it.
You were leading the meeting because your president was out. I thought you did fine. You kept there's 2 things somebody running a meeting has to do. You gotta start it on time and stop it on time. Everything else in the middle is like a wedding. It's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Just start it and stop it. I thought you did fine.
Well, thank you. I know everyone loves when I do it because I'm always on time. I never, yeah. Being a banker, I'm like on time.
Your official title in a couple of different places, I've seen vice president, I've seen
Mhm.
commercial lender, commercial banker. Are they all kind of the same?
Yeah, they're all the same. Yeah, they just I think my business card says banker,
Yeah.
but I'm a lender and yes, vice president. We get those titles mostly so we can, sign off on different loans and sign on our loan documents and do closings.
But
So
at the end of the day, you're a helper.
that's right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that is my job.
Banking scares us. There's a couple of industries that scare us, insurance, and with me, it's social media, because I'm old. So, but there's so much out there. It seems like it changes every half hour. Banking, we all think, oh, these people, they sit behind a desk and their whole job is to keep saying no. When in reality, you really want to help people and help businesses grow, right?
Absolutely. The banks are in business to help people. That's really their job. Our job is to do that, is to help people with loans, help people bring over their checking accounts, their savings accounts. That is our main job, is to help everyone. That's one of the reasons why I got into banking, is because of that. I started as a teller 1,000 years ago, and then just grew into it and became a lender because of that. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, that we could help people and grow their business. And I saw the success and how, just the little loans, whether it's a working line of credit or getting them into a property where they own it, is a big difference in their business.
COVID has changed a lot of things for a lot of industries from, I guess, let's go back to March of 2020 till now. Is there much different when people are coming to you for a loan or a new account or anything like that? What has changed in your world?
Well, back in March of 2020, I think we weren't sure what was going to happen with COVID. A lot of businesses were, I would use the word panicked, because we did not know what was going to happen to their businesses because of the shutdowns. That was a big aspect at the time. Thank goodness we did have PPP loans that came from the government. There were some EIDL loans as well that was given by Small Business Administration through the government. But at the time, nobody was really asking for loans up until about summer. And then summer of last year, it was like nothing had happened. Um, and it's been like that since, really.
The
I haven't seen a big, huge change. Some people, I think some restaurants have had slowed down a little bit, but then I saw that pick up as well. So I do think that a lot of businesses felt like the rates were low. Um, Timing was good. They did, pump in a lot of money to small businesses. So small businesses had some money that they might not have had before. So it gave them an opportunity to grow and expand their business. So I actually saw some slowdown in the very, very beginning, that first quarter. And then I haven't really seen it slow down since. I've seen it grow since then.
I always enjoy railing on the people in DC because they're whichever party. This is not a political statement, but
That's right.
they're out of touch because they live in their own bubble, and no knock on them for that, but that's the world they live in. And when they start talking about the economy and jobs and everything, I want them to go talk to small business owners that they don't know. I don't want to talk to their buddies that have $28 million businesses and stuff like that. Is to go into communities and talk to the people that hear things. And obviously, bankers are one of them. I know you hear a lot of things. Are you starting to see businesses making more and better concrete plans for the end of 2021 and moving forward to 2022 now that we know a little bit more?
Yeah, yes, I think that a lot of businesses are thinking about their future. Not that they didn't before, but I do think that they're thinking about it even more so now because of what happened with COVID. It brought a lot of things to light. It might have brought some insecurity to them, and so they were thinking about ways to shore up and be more secure in their future. So I do think that they're thinking more long term than maybe before, and doing better business plans, buying more real estate. Lots of them may not want to lease anymore where they are and they want to buy something, especially like I said before, the rates were low. The environment is better. The economy is actually better than I think anyone ever anticipated. Being in the industry for sure, didn't think that we'd be here, you know, in the economy being so booming as it is right now.
I'm
So
curious
yeah,
to see what's going to happen. I probably need to find a commercial realtor and have them on because I think a
yeah,
lot of businesses are realizing that a portion or most of their workforce can work from home, and they find out everybody's hitting their numbers and the results are good. And what's going to happen to all that commercial property space?
it's been interesting. I've sat down with a few commercial realtors. It would probably be great to have one on the show. They've all said that a lot of people are buying some buildings up, mostly for owner occupied space. Um, but again, I hate to just keep on harping on it, but that's because rates are low right now. So people feel like they can buy, they can get in, and in a lot of cases, it's less than what they were renting. So their mortgage payment is much less than the lease. But yes, you are correct. A lot of, I think investors are a little concerned about the leasing and doing investment property with leasing out to retail or some office space. You are correct. That is somewhat slowed down a little bit. But honestly, I think people are, I think they enjoyed working from home, but I also think it'll be a hybrid,
Yep.
right? I think that some people will stay home, but then some people will go to work because they like it, but not enough. Not enough to maybe stay home all the time. And a lot of businesses are kind of talking about, hey, we need to get back to somewhat normal and have you come in.
I've started scheduling some one-to-ones out and about. And
Hmm.
what I've learned is, God, I hate driving.
Yeah, that's true.
It took me about 3 weeks of COVID last year to realize how much I was driving
Yeah.
because I think 2 days in a row, I had 5 Zoom meetings in a row, and I felt very productive. And then I look
Yes.
back, it's like, "Oh, that's because 'cause you're not driving anywhere." It's like, I don't miss that anymore.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat. I live about 20 minutes away from work, and pre-COVID, it was 40 minutes. So I understand completely. It was for me, I loved it too. I was like, this is fantastic. I just can get out of bed and my travel is, a couple hundred feet and then I'm parked for a while. And then yeah, it was that is great.
And you're at home right now.
Mhm.
Did you find that you had to rearrange your office once you knew you were gonna be home for a while?
Yeah, my husband and I had a little discussion about it because I'm basically in his office. So we had to have a little talk about that. And yes, I had to bring in my computer so I could duplicate what I had at work and bring it here and get my two screens and have a desk. And so yeah, it was interesting.
My wife had to do that too because where she works, she has 2 screens.
Yeah.
And once they sent her home for a while, like they did with everybody, she took the office upstairs, and we
Mhm.
had to go to work to get her second screen and get everything set up because you're right, you have to duplicate what you have at work so you can do
Mhm.
the same things in a meeting if you got, something on one screen, but your camera's here on this one, and, it's funny the stories we hear, and then you throw kids into the mix,
Oh gosh,
and
yes.
we had, boy, this was probably about 6 or 9 months ago. We had somebody on, I forget who it was, that they bought an Instapot for the kids because they were always coming, "Hey, mom, when's lunch?" She's in meetings and everything. And so she would put the food in the Instapot in the morning, and it would always be ready by like 11:30. It's like, "Hey, go eat when you want." So they handled that. Have you and Mike had fun negotiating with 2 or more people at home at one point in time, let's say?
Well, I tell you what was a little interesting for us is that my husband works retail. So he never had an opportunity to stay home. So it was me the whole time. And then I had 4 kids. So I have 4 kids. So all 4 kids were home. All 4 kids were home, on Zoom with their school. And then, oh yeah, it was fun. And then I got a dog in the meantime. So yeah, it was a lot of juggling and a lot of craziness. I'd be on a Zoom call and I'd have like 3 kids come in. When are we having lunch? What are we having for dinner?
Yeah,
Like,
and I've always asked some of the folks working from home if it's harder to be the teacher, the lunch lady, or the principal.
exactly. Exactly. I'd even have my door shut. I'm like, I have a conference call and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. They're just like, "Hey, come in." I have to say that I did find that a bit challenging
I
because
would imagine so.
I'd be like, and they just come in, or my daughter would come in and she'd like, or if I was on a call like this, she'd like put herself in the call, and I'm like, "Could you just give me a second?" But yeah, it was
It
interesting.
we've had a couple of guests on the show because it's been Zoom for a long time, and
Yeah.
we've had to ask them they've had kids at home, and their bandwidth was a little the signal was weak. So, there's a couple of people we had to tell them, "Can you get everybody off their, computers while we do the show so we can have a strong signal?" Just
Exactly.
everybody's had to adjust. So we
Everybody.
we are here with Terra Law, North State Bank. Terra's in RD 23 Raleigh Resource Group. They meet Wednesdays at 11:35. If you want to meet a good group of folks, their chapter certainly is a good one. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, first thing you have to do is have a website. If people cannot find you, they may think you're not legitimate because you don't have your own website, but they need to know a little bit more about what you do and the solutions you have for their problems. And you want a good website, don't need to spend 30, 40, 50,000 bucks on one, but you need one that's functional and explains what you do. So go to professionals like Oak City Tech, go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. All right, Tara, looking at your bio when I professionally stalk my guests, and I'm always looking for nuggets. I love I tell people that one of the best things about doing this show is I know what interstate we're starting on. I can't wait for the first off ramp. Now, looking at your work history, which I found, it sounds like you were born a vice president. Is that not quite correct?
No, not born. Not
Okay.
born.
You started as a teller. Can I
Yeah.
assume you like math?
Actually, that's just not the truth. I know
Okay.
everyone says that to
Yeah.
me. I actually don't like math. I hate to say that, but I really don't like math. I got into the teller job out of high school because I guess I was friendly. And I had a friend of mine that graduated 2 years before me that said, "You're nice. Why don't you become a teller?" And I thought to myself, well, what's the benefits of being a teller? She's like, it's 9 to 5 and there's no weekend.
Ooh.
And I thought that really appeals to me. So that's how I became a teller. And then the bank that I worked at in the very beginning, I'm from Florida, they actually paid for your college education. And they didn't care what you went into, whether it was finance or history or anything like that. So I just stuck with it all the way through college. And then I just found out that I liked it and just stayed with it.
So no history of banking in your family tree?
None. In fact, it's all psychology. My father was a psychologist. My mom is a social worker. Even my husband got his degree in psychology. So yes, it's all not banking at all.
So it was just a friend of yours saying you're friendly. Here, go
I'm
be a teller.
friendly. I'm super friendly.
And
So
I agree with that. You've gotta have a story or 2 of something people have tried to send through that little door in the when they're doing the drive-through, not the tube, but the standard drive-through when you're at the first literally at the window there, and you open that little door, somebody's tried to put something in there that just doesn't work, right?
well, again, I'm from South Florida. So you can only imagine the kind of crazy things that come through the door. But I did have a guy, this is a true story. I did have a guy that was either high or drunk and put a gun in the drawer with a note that said, "Please give me all your money," with the gun and the note. And and um and I remember just looking down and looking around. And I'm like, and I just put it right back. And I'm like, I think you need to take this back
Yeah.
because, the windows are bulletproof, or at least ours were. The one that I was at, the bank I was at, was bulletproof. And so I would just press the little button. And of course, like 5 minutes later, the cops just come behind him and arrest him. But yeah,
When you opened the drawer to send it back to him, what did he say?
he was like shocked that I sent it back because I would imagine he's a little bit nervous, and so I just sent it back, and I was like, that's something that I can't accept unless you have proper ID. So
I I like the fact that he put the gun in the drawer thinking, "Oh, they know I mean business."
that's why I thought so. I thought maybe he was high or something like that. I think he was on something just because that was really dumb. Like robbing a bank is dumb, but that was really dumb.
Oh,
So
that's so good, but you're right, Florida does have the best stories.
yes, Florida
There's
does have the best
yeah.
stories.
Okay.
Yeah. I had an interesting time as a teller, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Oh, I bet you had people just pleading and begging with you
Oh
to
my
either
gosh.
approve something or give them a little extra money or pay a note or something, right?
Well, I was known for being a little quick. I was a fast teller. And so they put me, I worked for a very large bank at the time, like one of the largest. And they put me as the non-customer cashing teller. So I cashed checks for non-customers. That's
Okay.
all I did. And at the bank that I was at, I mean, I was doing 500 transactions a day. And so you would not even believe, some people had an ID, some people did not have an ID, some people had a fake ID. So yeah, it was an interesting time because you'd have to figure out pretty rapidly if it was real or not, and if you could help them or not. But I would have it all.
Oh,
please.
what's the best kind of fake stuff you saw in an ID?
Lamination would really give it away. So you would be like, okay, that's not real. And I can't really, I'm no police officer. So, I couldn't be like, that's fake. I just knew it wasn't. And so I'd be like, I really need a proper ID. This is proper. No, this is not proper. So I need something else.
Oh,
Please,
that's
anything else.
funny.
Yeah.
Then when did the bug hit you about wanting to stay in banking?
Um, I think I became a branch manager. They had promoted me to branch management and down in Florida, and I really enjoyed again dealing with people and helping them. In a way, it was sort of going into my father's footsteps of psychology because you do get to help people on a personal level and you do know a lot about their lives. Just in a financial matter, you're not knowing other things, but you're, dealing with them in a financial place. So it became more of that aspect and helping those people either get out of a situation or get into a better situation. So that's really how I found it. And then I just fell in love with it and the people around me and the people I worked with. It was great. And again, it was 9 to 5 and no weekends and had good schedule.
Yeah, because 'cause you're
So
close to the beach.
I was very close to the beach. It was great. I was 10 minutes from the beach. So
We lived in, and you're from Stuart, Florida. We lived in
yes.
Daytona Beach from '99 to 2009, and with the job I had at the Speedway, it was really the first time I got involved in the community,
Hmm.
and being with, United Way and working with some other nonprofits and events. Of course, everybody's coming to the track for the races and wanting to be involved, and so you get to meet a lot of people, and it's really the first time I got to meet a lot of bankers. And the
Okay.
one thing I realized is all you people have worked with each other at some point in time, haven't you?
Oh my gosh, very small. Very small community, very small. It's true. As large as think of how many banks there are in the country. And even in this small area of Raleigh, there's so many banks, but we all know each other. So
I found that it came it appeared quickly. I'd meet somebody and I didn't want to turn to introduce them like, "Oh yeah, we worked together 12 years ago at this
yes,
bank," and then introduce them.
yes,
"Oh, do you know? Yeah, yeah, we're 7 years ago."
yeah. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Because
It's
you've been at Fidelity, Bank of America, and First Citizens.
mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
without calling out any names or anything, the difference between a local slash community bank and a big, global bank, what did you like? What didn't you like about either or both?
You know, all of them were great. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was great. I think a community bank such as North State Bank, the one that I work at now, um, what's great about it is that I can actually call the underwriter themselves. I have their cell phone number, if you will. I have the direct dial to the chief credit officer if there's a question. So those things are huge, and that is a big difference because that makes us, I think, more malleable with things. If there's a request that comes in that might be questionable or, not in the box. It's something that we can more likely work through. So that just makes a big difference. And in the bigger banks, you're just not able to do that. And it, not by any, fault of their own. They're just so big and they're in other areas of the country that you sort of have to, um, placate to everyone in the same way. So you really don't have room to go outside of your box. Whereas, a community bank, you can do that more than you can at a bigger bank.
BNI has taught me a lot of the things. One of the main things it's taught me is to shop local, not
Hmm.
knocking any global company, but
Right.
generally, it's more difficult to find a local rep and a local rep that's involved in the community. And I
Hmm.
always tell people you should have, based on what I know now about BNI in whatever town you're in, you should have the cell phone number to your banker and your CPA, and if all goes well, your chiropractor, which is what I need. But the people who are doing business with you, I think it sounds corny, but I think it makes a difference that the number we're putting up on this screen today is your cell phone number and you're vice president of a decent sized bank.
Yeah, and you know what? I do love that.
Mhm.
I absolutely love that. I think before when I worked for a larger bank and we didn't have that, or it was not recommended to do that, um, there's some disconnect with that. Whereas, I actually have relationships with my customers. They'll text me, which is new too. That was new. But we text each other, we email, they can call me anytime, and they know that. That was really evident through the PPP process this last year and this year. It was just a great help to be able to have real, true relationships with customers on that level.
And I will say, to tell you that Tara's telling the truth, I called her office number the other day, rolled right to her cell phone. Now, I swear she was at the beach. I thought I heard waves, but it didn't matter. I got my question answered. Back in your days at First Citizens, I have you as a quarterly top scorer as an award you won, but I don't think it was basketball, right?
Oh my gosh, no. I'm too short for that. I'm too short for basketball. No, that was for the branch. I was the branch manager for a while, and that was for our branch. We as a group just did very well with our loans and deposits. So we would get quarterly award, and it was great.
Did you guys ever have, I guess that was one of the team competitions you guys had.
Yeah.
Any recommendations to pass on to other small business owners who may be watching or listening that have a staff? Any kind of fun games you could play to keep the energy level and the interest going?
I think it's good to have a goal, in mind. Just have some sort of goal in mind, like who's going to make the most calls, who's going to make them, who's going to whatever goal you have, maybe have it a stretch goal, and have it that way. I think giving a little awards is great. You don't need to make it monetary or anything like that. I mean, that that wasn't big for me. It was more or less a fun way of competing with your peers and also cheering them on. I think everyone, for me, I wanted everyone to do well and be successful. So, if someone else beat me out, that was great. And then I'd always meet with them and kind of figure out how they did that. How did you do that? How did you win? So it's good to have some camaraderie about that and learn from each other.
And then remind them next time they're going down, right?
That's right. That's right.
With a smile because you're so nice, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm friendly.
And friendly. And who could get mad at you with that friendly
That's right. I'm
face?
friendly.
Let me write that down and make sure I credit you properly, friendly, because I don't want to call you nice. I want to call you friendly.
You can put that up on my little bio, friendly.
I will do that. When I post this, I'll say, meet the friendly banker, Tara.
Yeah, there you go.
We are here with Tara Law, North State Bank. Tara is involved with RD23, BNI chapter that Raleigh Resource Group meets Wednesdays at 11:35 a.m. Right now it's by Zoom. So if you want to meet some good folks on Wednesday morning, please give them a call and visit. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Email plans, folks. Facebook can close down your Facebook account. Google can do whatever they want. YouTube can shut you down. But if you have your own mailing list, you can email whenever you want. It's little tricks like that the pros like the folks at Oak City Tech can help you with. So go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for, and I know they'll be able to help you. All right, Tara, one of my favorite questions for people on the show that I know are married, happily or not, doesn't really matter for the question. How did you and Mike meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
Oh gosh. So we met on Match.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And we do have the same exact story. In fact, he's very sweet. He kept our first conversation on his phone. still after all these years. But I actually reached out to him. He didn't reach out to me. And we're both very large Star Wars fans. So we had that in common. And then, yeah. And then I asked him to marry me. So we have
Really?
little unconventional there. But yeah,
Did you get down on one knee?
I did not.
So you didn't get on one knee, you didn't release doves, nothing like that? No,
I
not
didn't
at
release dubs. No, I didn't. I
not at a
did not.
baseball game on the Jumbotron in
No,
center field?
I know I didn't.
And I'm hoping he said yes on that
Yes,
time.
yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
That's too funny. How would you rank the Star Wars movies? What's your
Well,
favorite one?
I like New Hope. He likes Empire Strikes Back, and then it's New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. Um, and then I actually like the other Star Wars movies, Return of the Jedi. I like them all, but it's fascinating to me that we grew up with Star Wars. I was young when Star Wars came out, so I remember it in theater, and it's so interesting to see our children are really into it. Now, like my daughter's super into it. She loves Star Wars.
Have,
So
have you seen all the backstory movies, Solo and all of
yes.
those?
In fact, we're watching The Bad Batch now, which is
Yeah.
that new one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We like it. I know. We saw The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I know.
Now, we grew up with what is now number 4, right? We grew up, the
Oh,
trilogy was
right.
4, 5, and 6.
That's
The
right.
the first 3 that came out, the prequels, to me, brutal.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
God.
My
Anyway,
husband
yeah.
feels the same.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I like him
Yeah, he
already. So,
feels the same way,
yep,
totally.
like him already. So, but for us though, the bar was set so high because this was what, 77, I think.
Yeah,
And
77.
this was brand new to us, the technology, the big screen. How do you get better than that?
I
So,
know. And the storylines were so good compared to the prequels. And I know my husband, it's so funny because we'll see A New Hope or mostly Empire Strike Back. And as soon as it comes on, I have to look over to him and I'm like, please don't repeat
yeah.
everything. So he'll say exactly the same. He'll say the sentence before it even happens in the movie. Because when he was a kid, he would come home from school and watch the movie every day.
Oh
Every day.
my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me you two have gone to a Halloween party dressed up.
I'm trying to think. Oh, we did go to a Halloween party, but we did not do Star Wars. We did Saturday Night Fever.
Nice. How does he look as Travolta?
Oh my God, it was hilarious.
Can he
He had those
dance?
shoes, those big, oh my God, yeah. It
Can
was
he
too funny.
dance?
He can.
Okay.
He can. Yeah,
Well,
he can.
then you're the big winner there.
Oh yeah.
You talked about your college days. You started at Indian River State College.
hmm
And a little thing on there says that you were who's who in community college.
Well,
How does
yeah.
one earn that?
I don't know. You get those things in the mail and then you just get on there. For me, I loved college. I thought it was fantastic. I was heavily involved in both colleges. Um, and I got my degree in history, oddly enough. So I was involved in the history club and all of that, but I think that they just see that, oh wow, she's really involved, and then you just, get those things.
And according to your bio, you were also in the theater at Indian River.
I was. I did one play, Marvin's Room. I played the nursing home attendant. I did one play, and then I remembered my theater coach was like, "You should get into the news, like do broadcasting the news." And I'm like, "No, that's just not me." I mean, I just wasn't. It wasn't me. My daughter's in theater, oddly
Okay.
enough, so she loves theater.
Now,
But
did you have a speaking line in that play?
I did. I had a speaking line. That was the thing. I was like, how do these people memorize
Yeah.
these lines?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of lines.
Do you still remember your line?
I don't. I don't remember my line. I do not. I
Any
know it was a couple lines. I was in a lot of scenes, but
any chance
yeah.
for your kids there's video of that?
I don't think so, because it was like way, way back then. I don't think so. My daughter thinks it's hilarious.
Well, and I always like to look at distinguished alums from different colleges just to see,
Mhm.
and Indian River, and I knew just having lived in Daytona, that's a heavy sports school, state college, junior
Yeah.
college. I mean, there's a lot. So there are a number of baseball players that came through there. A couple that I'd heard of, but nothing real big. But then you went on to Florida Atlantic.
Mhm. The
You,
owls.
yes, and I hope that this interview will get you on that distinguished list because the biggest name, Tara, on that list, do you know who's probably the most recognizable alum of Florida Atlantic?
No.
Carrot Top. I hope this will propel you into his stratosphere.
Oh my God. Yes, that would be phenomenal.
I'm
Oh
dying
my
laughing because
God.
I'm scrolling through and there's this business owner and this governor, or this, this, that, and the other. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Carrot Top, good.
Yeah. Carrot Top's the best. I hope that I could get to be like him one day.
I also found that you, and I didn't get a year on this, but through North Carolina Public Television, you did a panel discussion on debt management.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was,
how
I don't
exciting
know.
was that, Tara?
Oh God. It was moving and shaking, people. Like I said, I got a lot of, I'm not very energetic. It was great. A lot of people called in on that panel. It was me and someone from, I think, a couple of nonprofits. But it was great. People that are in debt, that feel like they can't get out of it. It's very upsetting to them. So it was nice to have a little panel that talked about how to get out of it and how to help their credit.
If you have personal debt, what's
Mhm.
the easiest slash first thing we should do?
Well, for me, on a personal level, I think that finding a low rate, wrapping it all into one type of loan that makes the principal go down faster, get out of the big interest bubble like a credit card and put it into something that's more fixed rate, and you can really pay that down as fast as you can. That's the best thing to do. A fixed, some sort of fixed rate. There's a lot of great, I won't say any names, but if you Google them out there, there are a lot of great, banks out there that specifically just do that. That's all they do is they'll wrap unsecured debt into fixed rate. And so that's what I recommend people to do when they call me, because believe it or not, revolving debt, if you have a very large amount of revolving debt that's unsecured, that will actually pull your credit score down. So when you actually put it into an installment loan, your credit rate, I mean, your credit will actually go up. So it does help when you do that.
Is the same principle true for business debt?
Yes, business debt is interesting because it's not always reported. So most business debt isn't reported. You actually, when you go to get a business loan, you have to report it yourself to the bank. So there is no specific, like how you have Equifax and Experian and TransUnion, there really isn't that for businesses. Unless business owners put it in their personal name and their social security, it's not usually there. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, and the first thing is probably to acknowledge it and put a plan together, start dealing with it.
yes,
You had, I think today is what, the 21st? Okay. You had a birthday a couple weeks ago.
yes.
Won't ask what number it is. I know it's an anniversary of your 29th. That's what I've learned to talk about. My father-in-law is on the 49th, 48th anniversary of his 39th birthday, is what he
Yeah,
likes to tell people. How
exactly.
was your birthday this year different than COVID birthdays for all of us last year?
I'm trying to think, it really wasn't so different because we actually went to Ocean City last year for my birthday. So we really, I mean, I think the big difference is masks, wearing masks last year when we traveled and wearing masks we didn't wear masks this year when we traveled. So I really didn't. I mean, we were homebound through it, but wasn't. We actually took a week in Ocean City because they were somewhat open.
Mm.
I mean, at the time they were, but yeah, it wasn't that. I mean, I isolated just like everybody else, but I also tried to not, you know, be home. I couldn't do that for a very long time. I did it for a while and then I couldn't after a while. I was losing my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get out.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah. Any of your 4 kids, like math and might wanna follow in your footsteps in the banking world?
no, 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 nobody wants to follow my footsteps. I've asked my daughter, she's like, absolutely not. Nobody wants to follow my footsteps, which is fine. I get it. I think they find my job probably very boring. So no, none of them. Although my stepson is very much into math. He gets hundreds on everything, even on pre-calculus. Um, but he wants to be a mechanic.
Oh, good.
So I know. Yeah, that's
You know,
great for us.
and yeah, but that's a whole nother discussion, and this came up, God, it was in the last couple weeks. The trades industries, oh, man, because I remember back in the day, it's like, "Oh, you're gonna be that," instead of going to college, and now you look at the plumbers and the electricians, a lot of them have successful businesses, and they're making a ton of money.
Absolutely. I
Oh,
mean, we
so
couldn't have been prouder when he said that. We were like, absolutely, you should completely do that. Please do that because there's actually a shortage of people in the trades
huge,
right now.
huge, and there's no
Huge.
need to go to college, get in debt, just
Yeah.
go be an apprentice under somebody, and oh, man,
Yeah.
so if you have anybody out there looking to go into the trades, just send them right into it. Man, they're
Yep.
gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead of these kids coming out of college, and it's a legitimate skill. Because last I saw in our house, I need power every day, so
Yep.
kinda need an electrician if something goes wrong, but good for him for doing that.
Yeah.
Did they do anything nice for, Father's Day yesterday for Mike?
Yeah, we did. I made his favorite meal, which is lasagna. And being
Ooh.
Italian, that's my big contribution. So yeah, we had lasagna. We and he, like I said, he's in retail, so he works, crazy hours. But yeah, we were able to have dinner. We had cake. We had the whole thing, and he was able to be together with the family.
Was there a Star Wars marathon?
No, there wasn't. But what we, like I said before, we watched Bad Batch. We were into that. We're also into Marvel, so we watched Loki, and we're all.
You didn't make him a Death Star cake like they did on Big Bang Theory for
I
Sheldon?
know, right? I should have done that. That would have been fantastic.
Eh,
Although we do have Death Star pancakes, so
how do you make those?
they come in a like a waffle maker that actually looks like the Death Star, and then we use our Darth Vader spatula.
Oh, I've gotta Google Death Star pancakes. I bet that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Tara, it's been a blast having you on the show. Thanks for coming on. Tara's with North State Bank. Any help you need, residential side, commercial side, please give her a call. Wish you luck with the second half of the year as businesses are kind of making some better plans, and certainly with any other trips to the beach. I hope you can make a couple more of those and get down there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you so
You
much.
bet. Enjoyed it, and we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.